Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of The Apprenticeship of Lucas Whitaker by Cynthia DeFelice, narrated by John McDonough.
Chapter 1. The Connecticut Countryside, 1849. The grave was dug. Carefully, Lucas Whitaker hammered small metal tacks into the top of the coffin lid to form his mother's initials. H.W. for Hannah Whitaker. Then he stood up to straighten his tired back. All that was left was to lower the pine box into the cold, hard ground and cover it with dirt. But Lucas didn't move. He stared blindly at the double line of grave markers in the little family burial ground. There were the graves of 2 infants, his brother and sister, each of whom had died so soon after birth that Lucas could scarcely remember anything about them except the sight of their tiny red fists waving in the air and the sound of their feeble crying. Their graves were so small that the field stones stuck in the ground to mark their heads and feet were no farther apart than the length of Lucas's arm. Next were the stones marking the place where Lucas's Uncle Asa was buried. Asa had died of consumption 2 years before. Soon after, Lucas's sister Lizy, just 4 years old, had fallen to the same dread disease. When they'd buried Lizy, Lucas and his father had worked together in stunned silence, afraid to think about, much less speak about, the mysterious way in which the sickness could sweep through a household, taking one family member after another. That night, Lucas's mother had clasped him to her, weeping. "How long shall I be allowed to keep you?" she'd whispered. But the next to be afflicted had not been Lucas. He shuddered as he remembered the way the large, powerful man who had been his father had turned slowly into a thin, pale stranger, too weak to stand. Until at last, Lucas, working alone on a hot August day, tears mingling with the sweat of his labor, had buried his father too. Now, standing on the rocky hill...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?